What's up everybody, Day Late Dollar Short here, and today's Fateless video reminded me of something I wanted to talk about a while ago but didn't get around to, and it's kind of hidden behind Simon here, but I wanted to talk about the home screen UI. Sorry if it looks crappy, I pulled this off a Facebook post where we got a clean look at the Sanctum, and man, that store button really just jumps right out at you. Now, I've been following the development since the start, so I know what the devs are about, and I'm assuming that they just wanted to go with balance here. So you get the store button matching the same size of the battle button on the other side of the screen, but I still think that giant store button's pretty aggressive, and if you're just some random person, sees the app in the App Store, downloads it, and the first thing you see is this giant store button, I don't know how that impression's gonna sit with somebody that doesn't really know the devs and know what they're about. See this giant store button and you're like, oh, they really want to sell me stuff in here. So I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking it, but I think it's a pretty aggressive button. And honestly, I made a comment on someone else's video, I think it was Vex, and somebody replied to my comment saying, oh, would you still think it's aggressive if this giant store button was still there but we didn't have any pop-ups? And honestly, that would be a fair trade, and I'd be happy with no pop-ups, but it's still a pretty giant button. But I don't know, this would probably throw off the balance, and excuse my sloppy kinda rushed patch job, but I think if you just make the store button a little bit smaller and then just maybe add a shimmer effect to where the glow is coming off these rubies, I think the store button would still stand out and you'd still get attention to it, but without making it ginormous and the same size as the battle button, making it seem, you know, equally important if you're, like I said earlier, if you don't know what the devs are about and you just see that for the first time, you're gonna be like, ah, store's the same size as the battle, so the store's just important as the rest of the game. But if that's too problematic for the eye, not having the balance from one side to the other, I think you could also split up your PvE and PvP modes, which I know with the MVP we aren't necessarily getting much PvP, so it could be a little barren for the MVP, but you can have, you know, your Scion trials, so you're fighting other Scions, PvP, and then you can explore Riven. We know the world is called Riven, and that kind of gives it the old RPG feel. I mean, to a certain extent. You feel like you're leaving your home base, your sanctum, and you're going to explore the world. Obviously, it's not an open world game, but it kind of gives a little bit of that feel. Yeah, I don't know. Am I just totally crazy overthinking it? Or do you guys like these ideas? I mean, this is just a messy mock-up. I'm not saying do it exactly like this. Obviously, you would want something properly designed, and I'm assuming you would want different emblems on the shield or something to further differentiate them. One thing to call out, I forgot to put the store button back in when I was making this one, but I was thinking you already have all these buttons down on the bottom, so you can just add another one for the store. Or like you have this timer over here. I'm not sure exactly what this timer's for, but you know, you can have a store button on the side here or over by the chat here. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. Wanted to get them out there. I thought that store button was looking a little crazy big, and for me it was kind of an eyesore on the Sanctum screen. I don't want to be a total negative Nancy. There was some awesome info in today's video. Just real quick, this is what I was talking about when I meant split PvP from PvE. You can take Arena from here and throw it on the other side, and obviously that's not much more for MVP, but we do know that they want to bring in like a live arena and some different arena modes, so eventually you'll get a few things over on this side, and that'll free up some real estate on this side for more PvE modes that get added to the game later. One of the cool things we've seen before but I didn't talk about in another video is they redid the campaign screen, and I really love it. I think this kind of lightning border or whatever you want to call it is awesome, and then you kind of get this cloudy thunderstorm around the areas you don't have unlocked yet. And something I didn't catch when they first showed it, but they pointed it out later, was the images up top change when you go to the different realms on your way through the campaign. So this is a bad example because I think this is the only one he shows in this video, but in one of the earlier videos you can see 2 or 3 of the backgrounds and they all look great. But yeah, not much here besides I think it looks cool. We also got a new look at the summoning system, or not summoning system, summoning animation. So I'm gonna disappear for a second.
Got a few ancestral stones here. I've seen a couple of the Pantheon members. Oh, a dupe. That's actually not bad. I've seen a couple of the Pantheon.
Alright, he does pull a few more in the video, but you get the picture with the one summon. While I am a little upset it's the Godforge and you don't see some more like Forge type, I don't even know. Don't see hammer hitting steel or anything like that you think of when you think of a Forge. I still think the animation's awesome, and I really like the hero highlight coming out of it. It's a nice cool view of the hero, and I don't think it lasts too long, where I don't think it'll be annoying while you're pulling your summons. That was another great thing shown in the video today. Paused it on one of the other summons. You know Susie's gonna love it with the bright flash of purple. So the main feature of the video was Pantheons, and I think the one last negative thing I have about the video is Pantheons start at 20 and you can unlock more member slots as you level up the Pantheon. And I'm not a huge fan of that in these type of games. Like if you're going into it with a group of people you want to play with, kind of limits who you can play with, depending. I mean, obviously, if you're just playing with a few friends, it's not an issue, but if you're going in with a large group or a clan from a different game, now you gotta pick and choose, alright, who's the 20 going into this one, but oh, we unlocked more slots, and now who's gonna leave their clan, or who's gonna leave their Pantheon to come over to this Pantheon, but we can only take 4 more people or 5 more people, whatever each unlock is. I think it kind of goes against their whole play with anybody philosophy, because I know they have built-in systems, so if you want to bring a friend along that's not a super hardcore player, they can still jump into your Pantheon without, for lack of better terms, dragging you down. But at the same time, if you can only play with 20 until you unlock more slots, now you might tell that person that you were going to bring along, oh hey, why don't you hang out, because you might slow us down from unlocking more slots and then we'll take you in later, you know? Just kind of goes against the everybody play along that it seems like they're trying to build anyways. But apart from that, we get a look at a lot of cool stuff in the Pantheon. It lets us know that you can rank up from level 1 all the way to level 50, and that you'll be doing it through the tasks, which will give you rewards and the experience that you need to level up. And I should mention that leveling up doesn't just unlock more slots for you, you get more gold and experience from other parts of the game as you level up your Pantheon. So that's a nice added bonus as well. A couple things here. He gets into the Pantheon Boss is obviously Kronos. We've known that for a bit now, but I thought this was cool too. You get a little Forge loading thing as the page is loading. You got one of the Fafnir Bane coins. That's the Godforge on the coin, and obviously from their Godforge logo. Then he gets into the rewards from the Pantheon Boss. Not exactly what they are, but basically that you will get personal daily rewards, which you can see these little chests. You get 2, 2, 3 here, and if you max out 4 chests. And something I probably should have said earlier is still haven't even hit early access, so everything's subject to change. Just because you see these scores here, these might not be the same score thresholds that you need to meet once the game launches. So basically just take the general idea that you get personal rewards daily, and you also get milestone rewards daily, which is basically a cumulative total from your whole Pantheon hitting the Pantheon Boss. So 2 types of rewards daily. Should be pretty sweet. Again, don't know exactly what they are, but usually Pantheon clan bosses in these type of games pay out pretty good rewards. And you'll also get weekly rewards based on your high score against the different affinities. I don't know if it's just a glitch in the build or something, but the affinity should change every day, so it shouldn't be cunning every day like this. And he didn't go into a lot of detail about the weekly bonus, but basically, like I said, it's your highest score against the different affinities. And he didn't mention if there was going to be a key system or anything, but he did call out that over here shows your best score, and he does say that you can go in and try and improve your score. Just didn't mention how many times, if there's a limit or keys or what. So a lot more to learn when early access comes out. Before we get off Kronos, little tinfoil hat going on. Simon does say he's one of the big bads of the MVP, so it makes you wonder if Kronos is just, he means big bad as one of the toughest bosses in the early access, or we've been wondering who the main bad guy is in the story for basically since they've been teasing the story, so maybe Kronos has a hand in all the stuff that's been going down, and he's one of the big bads of the total story so far. Couldn't remember if he said it, but he does say the Pantheons will go from 20 up to 40, and that they're also working on a cluster integration that will come in after early access. And he also goes into detail, well, he goes over the Discord integration that we've heard about a few videos ago. So basically you'll be able to set up your Pantheon chat with a Discord chat, so you can chat in-game or in Discord and communicate all in the same chat so everyone can see it whether they're in-game or in Discord. Simon gets into some more interesting Pantheon details. He talks about reliquaries, which originally we just thought were something that you as the player encounter, but he mentioned that it could be a Pantheon function where you let your other Pantheon members know where the reliquary is and help each other. How did he word it? Sorry, I forgot exactly how he worded it, but he didn't want to go into too many details, but said you can find a special area to farm weapons with your Pantheon and also craft them. So that's something to really look forward to. We know weapons are going to be a huge part of the game. And then he also said there's going to be a Pantheon element to world bosses, so you don't necessarily have to team up with somebody going into a world boss, but there will be a Pantheon element where you can help get more rewards. And he also touched on a couple ideas that they have for Pantheon vs. Pantheon Wars. And again, all this stuff is going to be post-early access, but still really cool getting an idea of what they're looking to do with them. What really excites me is that one of their ideas is kind of they're taking inspiration from Clash of Clans, which I loved the clan war system in that game. You could basically choose if you wanted to sit in or sit out a war without impacting your clan, and it was easy as flicking a little button in the menu where it basically just said I'm in or I'm sitting this one out, and it would automatically keep you out of the war, and the matchmaking system would still match you up with a clan with a similar amount of players active in the war, so you weren't hurting your team by sitting out and you were getting matched up against a full clan. You were getting matched up against someone with similar numbers to what you were going into the war with. So I hope that's something that they bring into the Pantheon vs. Pantheon, just because it's real convenient for if you have that 1 week where you just can't squeeze it in, or if it's just something that you don't want to engage with, but you still want to be in the Pantheon and fight the Pantheon boss and all that. But I also think it's real interesting that they're considering a PvP v PvE mode, where you do have the standard fighting against the other clans' teams like arena battles, but then there's also the build a Pantheon boss idea that they mentioned before. So on top of the, arena battle type fights, you also have that PvE element of going against the clan boss, or going against the Pantheon boss. So that'll kind of make sure the Pantheon vs. Pantheon Wars have something for everybody. There's also another idea he threw out that I'm not as excited for as the first one, and it's basically some type of how good can you do against these bosses competition, which depending on how they execute it could be great, but it also kind of reminds me of the Clan v Clan in Raid, where you're just stacking up points and depends on who has the most energy, and could turn into a spend war on who's willing to spend more on energy. So I think if they find an interesting way to implement it, it could be really cool, but I also just see it being a spend fest, so I don't find it as exciting as the build up Pantheon boss idea, but could be something that's really cool if they figure out a cool way to work it in. That was all he had for Pantheon info, but one thing I wasn't sure if we saw already or not was he kind of showed us some of the dungeons. Here we got the Ascension dungeons. Simon's blocking this one, but knowing the affinities, this should be Strength. And we got Cunning, Wisdom, and Eternal. And then here we can see some different gear sets available from Svarog's Horde, Workshop of Ptah. There's another one over here that's cut off. And then Fafnir's Lair. We recently found out about Rivenite, so I wonder if this gold here is the upgraded version of Rivenite. The one we were shown before was like a gray, same shape. And I can't remember what these were called from Alpha, but you needed this material for upgrading your weapons. So I'm wondering if that's the same material or something else. And he was talking about going into Hag's Hollow and looking at the rewards. If this is Rivenite, maybe it's not an upgraded version because it's available on stage 3. Again, all this is subject to change, so who knows, maybe it's just something they have in their build. But we have that available, and Mortal Summon Stones available, and not sure what this is. Kinda looks like a dagger, but I just did a quick look at the weapons that we've seen so far, and it doesn't look like any of the weapons, so it's some other material. Not sure what it is. But he closes out showing his dungeon run. Get a quick look. Looks like the animations aren't done yet because the hag is just kind of sitting there, not doing anything. But still a cool look nonetheless. But yeah, that's all I have for this one. Some cool information this week on Pantheons. Getting more and more hyped for the game each video. One thing I didn't mention earlier is it sounds a little more likely that the release is going to be in April, but still hyped. Can't wait for it. And yeah, that's all I got. Let me know down below if you have any thoughts about how the Sanctum looks, and any thoughts you have about the Pantheon systems, and specifically the Pantheon versus Pantheon ideas. They were looking for feedback on that in their video. Could help a brother out, hit that sub button, and that's it. Have a good one.